Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Hager number 318D. This is a oil rubbed bronze roller latch with a T-strike. This is considered a heavy-duty roller latch. You're going to use this in 1 3/4 solid core doors, very typical, very common to see it installed in heavy doors like that. This is a nice piece of hardware from Hager. This is one of the items that I have reviewed that I'm especially I'm realizing on this piece of hardware that it has very nice quality fit and finish. Another special detail to this piece of hardware, just before we get into it, is it's going to be all but imperceptible on the camera, but these edges, they're not 0 degree, or 90 degree. There's a relief to them, meaning that the dimension on the top of the plate is a little bit bigger than the dimension on the bottom of the plate. The net result is this. When you're installing this, my tool of choice always is a router, even if it takes longer. The quality of the work, the job when it's done, is always much better quality fit and finish with a router than anything else. You'll find that when you route for this faceplate and then you fit it into your hole, it will make an incredibly tight sort of margin around that wood because of that relief that you have on the inside of it. You're mortising it basically to the small side, and when that relief comes in, that's imperceptible. It just makes a really nice look. You can always tell when it's been done by a router and you've got this sort of relieved edge on the hardware, on the brass hardware. So this is a roller latch, typical, common. You're going to see this in single doors, mounted down where the dummy trim is probably, or the pull handles. Pairs of doors, you're going to see this mounted up at the top. T-strike model is what this is. Use your imagination, you can see why we call it a T-strike. Cast brass, this is an oil rubbed bronze finish. Max roller projection is 3/8 of an inch. You are able to tailor via these two screws how far that roller sticks out, which is directly related to the amount of resistance it takes to get a door closed. If you've got a heavy door, you're going to be driving that roller out so that it stays in the closed position. What happens is when you tighten these screws, you draw this plate up closer to the bottom of this mechanism that holds the roller latch. Now what happens is that roller latch is going to be allowed to float on those springs, okay? But it can also be driven up when you tighten those screws down. So these two sets of springs allow it to move, allow it to accomplish two things: to decrease or increase its projection, which is related to the force it takes to pull it open or push it closed, whatever. But it also allows it to operate. This has to compress when it makes contact with the strike. So that's what the two sets of springs do, okay? Now, there is an image below this video, there's a link below this video to a document called Template. Now that gives all of the important dimensional properties of the item. We won't go over all of them. Well, we probably will. 3 and 13/32, so basically 3 and 7/16 in length of the body. The width is just heavy on 1 inch, 1 and a 32nd. Depth of the body in terms of its mortise is going to be 1 3/4, and that makes sense. Width of that mortise, they've got it at 2 1/4. That makes sense as well. I'll give you a little bit of room. Center line of the roller latch in the door, the center line, the vertical center line, needs to be the center line of the dimple that's in the strike. 2 3/4 T-strike is what we call these. It's actually 2 and 25/32, so just light on 2 3/4. Lip length, center of the hole to the edge of the lip, is basically 1 1/4 inch, 1 and 9/32. Okay. when you're installing this, if it is a pair of doors, you're going to want to make sure that you've got the body moved over from the edge of the door enough so that you are not having trouble mortising this into the top of the door. You might have a fire door. You might have something where you want to avoid the stile altogether. Center of the opening down to the center of this, generally 3.5 inch will always work, maybe 3 inch. You're going to want to check that always. Make sure that that 3 inch dimension or whatever you're using works for you. Otherwise, you're going to want to mount this, if it's a single door, at that height where the rest of your locks are going to be installed on other doors, and certainly where your dummy trim will be, so that when you're pulling or pushing on the door, you're putting the force right near the roller. Okay, nice quality fit and finish. I'm pleased with this Hager product. Available, if I have not already said it, in all the common finishes: your brasses, your bronze, your chromes, obviously oil rubbed. Black, I believe they'll do as well, US10 matte black. There is a link below this video to the manufacturer's page. Now, that's interesting because you can pull up the full line Hager catalog and review all things Hager hardware related. Now, they're not just a hinge company, and that's their namesake, Hager Hinge. They do everything when it comes to commercial, institutional, architectural, residential hinges. That can be done, but so many other items in the builders hardware, commercial hardware, residential hardware industry. Trim and auxiliary hardware, door stops like this. This is from Trim and Auxiliary Hardware. Weather stripping. They'll do aluminum continuous geared hinges under their Roton name. They will do sliding door hardware, pocket, bifold, bypass, track and hangers, things of that nature. Lock sets, exit devices, door closers. Signage, filler plates for use in wood and metal doors for blanking out hinges and strike preparations, the hole preparations. That catalog that's there is absolutely comprehensive. You could literally buy everything you need for your door project from one manufacturer, except the doors and frames, at least for now. There are people that I know that demand the Hager product, and I certainly do not disagree with that at all. Hager's been in business. The joke around here is they've been around since before the pistol, and that's not technically true, but figuratively it is pretty true. So we're partial to Hager here, and think that if you've got more than an occasional need of hardware, you should familiarize yourself with their product line. If you have any questions on the Hager 318D, US10B, oil rubbed bronze heavy duty roller latch, or any other Hager product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.